The presenting sponsor of Moontower Soccer is FVF Law.
To find out what makes FVF a different kind of injury law firm, you can visit fvf.law.
Hello, friends, and welcome to SWOONTOWER Soccer. I'm Mike Cragnola.
I'm Steph Cragnola.
And we are all about the boys.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, man, what a week. What a week. We have got ahead our St. Louis recap, all the normal segments, sort of, right? And then our Portland preview. So stay tuned for that. But first, Steph, I want to know, what are the vibes like?
Vibes are pretty good.
Yeah?
Vibes are high. But also, I feel like we're notoriously high vibey.
Do you think that's a problem?
No. I think it's the solution.
Yeah, I just, things are feeling pretty good. There's some concern, right, about being a counterattacking team, but I like
Is
winning.
there? Oh, because people are like, I want to score 1,000 goals.
And I also want to score 1,000
Yeah, who
goals.
doesn't? But on the side of more goals but losing or fewer goals but winning, I do like winning.
Yeah. So SWOONTOWER is good with winning, it sounds like.
Yeah, SWOONTOWER Soccer, good with winning.
This week we don't have a Matchscot because it was away.
Ooh.
But we do have on our personal socials, we've been interviewing our dog to stay sharp and to stay ready.
Yeah.
Because it's really important that we get our reps in and in practice, just like the boys.
Yeah, if you go to either Mike or my Instagram, you can see a video of our dog Hero doing his own little podcast. And it's the cutest thing. He takes after his parents. He's so perfect.
We're so proud.
Yeah.
He's following in our footsteps.
Yeah, we love him. Don't listen on full volume with your dogs around.
Unless your dogs like hearing other dogs bark.
Yeah.
Hero is also a rescue. And so this week, while we don't have any dogs to interview, we do want to encourage you to go rescue a puppy.
Go right now.
Yeah. Pause the podcast.
Yeah. And then go get a dog and then let us know when we can come pet.
Okay, we're back. Tell us about your dog. What kind is it?
All right. So
What's its name?
Let's get into our fit checks. This is an away week, so we only have travel pictures. But I do want to say, I was scrolling through these pictures and I got to the one of Brad and I was like, oh my God, Brad, you're better than that. Didn't your mom teach you to tuck your phone cord into your pants? And then I realized that it's not a very long headphone cord. It's part of the pants.
Yeah, it's just the pants. The pants look like iPhone headphones.
Because when I got to the last picture, I was like, oh, another phone call. What? Why do all these guys they all have Beats? We know that many of them have at least 2 pairs of Beats. So why are they, not tucking their headphone cords in? Because it's this white piping on the pants and it looks so out of place. When you see it from the front with the line along the jacket, it works and it's kind of a cool look from the front. But from just the side, I was and because Brad didn't have the jacket on, so yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that Julio wore shorts and tights instead of the pants?
Yes, because he understands fashion and he understands
that
those pants are not it.
The piping problem?
Yeah, the problem with piping.
Yeah.
The new Sherlock Holmes mystery.
All right. The other thing that I want to talk about on this is Steph Cleveland's wife.
I love her so much.
She's incredible.
Her comment on this post of away photos is, most people were hoping for Steph in this 12 photo dump, but okay.
I assume, and I should be clear, I assume this is Steph Cleveland's wife. I have nothing to confirm that, but this is...
Wait, you don't know?
No.
I thought you knew.
Shout out Shellbug. If you are not Steph Cleveland's wife, go ham, girl.
I'm sorry, that's the funniest thing. You told me it was Steph Cleveland's wife.
Who else?
Maybe Steph just has a huge fan.
Shout out also to the picture of Izuni and Danny wearing those incredible sunglasses after the match.
Yes.
It is a different kind of fit, but it is important that we acknowledge its quality. These sunglasses are exactly the kind of sunglasses that you get at Buc-ee's because you lost yours. I don't know. Maybe you lost them going to an away match in Houston, and you like got them knocked off your face in a delirium of beer showers. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Okay, I just Googled Stephen Cleveland wife, and his wife's name is Shale, so it would be very weird for him to also have like an internet stalker named Shale.
A super fan named Shale?
Yeah.
Look,
because it's a unique name. And
I'm not going to rule anything out.
Also, I'm looking at their Zola wedding
You're
website.
such a creep.
No, it's so cute. Surprise, we got married. First comes a baby, then comes a wedding.
Stop it. All right,
Okay.
Steph, let's move into match moods.
All right, my mood is good.
I want to talk about Sabovich's haircut. He got a new haircut this weekend and played like a guy who had a new haircut.
We've seen it. We saw it with Owen a couple times I almost said last semester. Last season, where he would weasel his way into the haircut
chair?
lineup. Yeah, and have a really good match.
Yeah, and it happened again. Sabovich looked incredible on the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great work.
Awesome. Other match mood. Got a lot of yelling. I said when I was watching that it looked like the guys were communicating more, which was a good soccer observation because then Zach said it on the North End podcast. So it's been confirmed. I noticed something soccery. But most of that, or a lot of that, I guess, is coming from Owen just yelling.
Yeah, he has become a real haulers during the run of play kind of guy.
Yeah.
A lot of yelling at the ref, a lot of yelling at his teammates.
Yeah.
Not like at them aggressive, but like at them in
Towards
general.
them.
Yeah. Yelling, parentheses, encouragement, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As opposed to yelling, parentheses, derogatory.
Yeah. Speaking of encouraging, I was watching. So thank you so much again to Anna Maria Liu for coming on last week for our city preview and for telling us that Olaf Melberg looks like a sexy lumberjack. But
we
I was
have a
watching,
proposal.
Yeah, I have a different take. What if instead he looks like a sexy young Santa, like pre-Santa Santa?
Yeah, origin story Santa, right?
Yeah, so we get this Hallmark holiday rom-com where he's a big town businessman and he's
big city businessman.
Big city. Gosh, oh, you got to yell it.
Yeah, he's a big city businessman.
All caps city businessman. And then he meets Mrs. Claus and she shows him the true meaning of Christmas, and they move to the North Pole, and the St. Louis City football players follow him because they all wear red.
Oh, and some of them are quite short, so they're like elves.
Anyway, after the match was over, really sweet to see Brad, always Brad, leading the team over to thank the away fans for coming. Just what a guy.
Yeah, it's tough to tell kind of what happens during these away matches, but that was something that really jumped out. They're doing the like post game, everybody's milling around, like high-fiving each other for a win. And you can see Brad be like, guys, come on, and like pointing up toward the stand where our incredible traveling support was. Shout out to everybody who traveled out to St. Louis. Shout out to everybody who travels to any of these matches. It's so fun. If you don't travel to any of these and you want to, do it. It's really fun and easy and cool. I know for a fact Los Verdes sells the away tickets on their website. I'm sure other supporters groups probably have a way for you to like buy away tickets as well. Do it. Come out. They're cool.
Yes.
All right. It's time for Celly ratings.
Yeah.
And this week, it's a Celly rating.
Yeah.
Mirtu Ozuni from an assist, just like we've always wanted to see from Osman Bukhari. Ball comes into the middle of the pitch. Mirto nails it home. And
Here's the thing.
he like does like a half-hearted little fist bump and like a hug.
I don't think half-hearted is fair. I think that it's definitely a little fist bump and he does a couple hugs. I think this man so badly said, check, next. Like, I don't think he's an extended goal celebrator because he's so ready to get to the next goal. So like, I don't think half-hearted is fair. I think it's more of like restraining himself so he can like, let's get it over quickly so that we can get to the next one.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay. That's fair.
I think it is for a man who said he's going to make the fans happy and his job is to do the goals. You would think that he would like have something planned. I will say that I am going to give Nico and Davy Arnaud a good 7.5 for their celebration.
Yeah.
They're like hugging, bro, like handshake thing.
Man shake.
Yeah. Yikes. Whatever it was, that's like a 7. That's like a good 7.5 coach celebration.
Yeah, it was good. All right. We got it was a slow week for social media, but we do have some good big picture items.
Hey, I see what you did there. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, we got the picture back. Let's go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
go.
Nico and media team.
I loved the amount of like support for the picture on all the socials. Just the amount of fans who were like, there it is. We've got it back, you know.
I love, my favorite thing about the picture is John Gallagher's commitment to his pose.
His pose remaining unchanged since season 1. Good work.
I love it.
Who's
your favorite in the picture?
Gosh, I think my favorite is probably Nico Dubersarsky.
He's just my favorite
He's just
angel
so
baby.
Cute. He's so happy. He's like, oh, I guess we do this. Okay.
I think about
let me be with my friends.
I think about Nico the same way I think about Hero. He's just so pure.
Yeah, I would die
Protect
for
him
Nico
at all
Dubersarsky.
costs. I really loved that Jean and CJ and Riley all took their shirts off, even though they hadn't done it.
Do you think CJ and Riley took their shirts off because they were halfway through changing for the second team match, right? They're like, okay.
No. No, I think they took their shirts off because they're young boys who are proud of their bodies, and good for them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was trying to give them a little bit of
because like, look at whose shirts are off versus whose are on. The adults keep their shirts on. And you know what? I respect them.
Except John Gallagher.
John Gallagher is an old man, and you know that old men love taking their shirts off on the beach. True. They also stand like Gally standing. You see, like, the only picture in my head is like old Italian men on a beach that are like in swim shorts that come up to their boobs, you know?
Yeah. John Gallagher's got Journey playing in the background, right? Like out of his IROC Z or whatever. Is that too Revere Beach for this podcast?
Yeah, that was literally, I laughed, but I didn't understand any of it. I was just trying to make you feel good.
Wow.
You know what else makes me feel good?
No, what?
So we got a training video, and you all know how much I love Jimmy.
And Jimmy time.
I love that he has something that is so uniquely him. It is his brand. He is Jimmy time. The video, he comes out for warming up, and Uzuni and Diego come out behind him, and they both do the Jimmy time point to their wrists at the camera, and it was so cute.
It's so cute because here's a guy who like should be fringe second team, right? Like he is probably not going to get a ton of minutes with the first team, but they're clearly so tight with him that like they love his Celly. They love the Jimmy time Celly, and it makes me wonder: does he do the Jimmy time Celly in practice?
I bet he does. He's really committed. He doesn't want to forget it when he's on a big stage.
And practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Well, and I think like watching Uzuni in the press conference after the match, like when he talks about wanting to be an example. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. When he talks about wanting to be an example for these younger players, showing them that like he sees them. Like,
Well,
and I know
of course
that's
he does, because he sees everything. He sees
Yes.
everything.
But you know what I mean. You
You
know what
right
I mean.
now, wherever you are listening to this,
He sees you.
he sees you.
Like emotionally too, though.
Oh,
And
probably.
that's the point with Jimmy, is that like he recognizes how much work Jimmy has put into his brand, and he's like, I'm going to support that.
Yeah, I love that. I also love getting the insight this week in the pre-match press conference from Brendan Heinzike about Uzuni being like a really good dude in the locker room,
Mm-hmm.
being super humble, being super about the team, being super supportive, which really helps like bridge that gap between I see everything and like what that could be like.
I told what did he call him? Did he call him Bakari?
Buka.
Did he say Buka? I couldn't remember. Yeah. I told Buka he's got to pick his head up. He can't be running with his head down. Like, just he says it so flat and so blunt that like you're like, is he cruel? Like, is he mean? But then you get this thing from BHI, some insight, and you get this whimsy of Jimmy time in practice. And like, no, he's just serious.
Yeah, he just really means he's here to break records, score
And
goals, and do his job.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love it.
I love it.
I also love the insight from Brendan this week in the press conference about a commitment to a potential dye job
Mm-hmm.
for him and Brad Stuver if we come home with hardware.
Recorded.
Do you think Copa Tejas counts?
Yes.
Perfect. And why is that, Steph?
Because it's the most important trophy in Major League Soccer and also the world.
Amen, girl.
All right. We are going to take a little ad break, and then when we come back, we are chatting with Sam Spiller of Stumptown Footy to preview our Portland Timbers match this weekend.
SWOONTOWER Soccer is brought to you by our friends at FVF Law, the official injury lawyer of Austin FC.
FVF is a different kind of personal injury law firm dedicated to community, transparency, and client education. And they have their own podcast called Summary Judgment. Check it out wherever you get your podcast.
You can go to fvf.law to find out what makes FVF a different kind of injury law firm and why understanding your legal options can dramatically change the outcome of a case.
Once again,
That's fvf.law.
got it.
Nailed it.
Our premier sponsor is McGuire Woods Consulting, helping clients in the public affairs space from lobbying at the local, statewide, and federal levels to digital and communications campaigns across the country.
McGuire Woods Consulting has offices in 10 MLS cities, but only advertises on this podcast because it's the home of the two-time Copa Tejas champions, soon to be 3.
Bow, bow, bow.
As we all know, this is the most important trophy in professional sports. Contact our friends at McGuire Woods Consulting at mwcllc.com for more information. All right. We are joined this week by Sam Spiller from Stumptown Footy, our one-stop shop for Portland soccer, covering the Timbers and the Thorns.
You were so possessive of that.
Well-
Sam is ours now. Sorry, Sam.
I'm sure other people stop other shops, but for us, there's only one answer, and it's Stumptown Footy. Sam, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back. I'm happy to be back. I can't think of many better shops to stop by for all of the news about all of it.
Agree.
So,
Yeah. No, it's great. We've been reading all the content since we met you. It's been really, really fun. I think that's probably my favorite part about this series has been like meeting all these cool creators and like getting obsessively more content to consume.
Yeah, it is. I gotta say, Sam, I love you and I think you're great. I have not consumed your content since we last spoke because if I were like Mike, I do podcasts for a living. So I basically like while I work, I listen to podcasts all day. But Mike is listening to and watching and reading every single thing from every guest we've had on this season. And I don't like, I appreciate it.
Like, did you see that thing that Sam did the other day? Steph, no.
Nope. I didn't. I'm so sorry.
At
It's
least I
not
appreciate the
personal.
honesty. No,
Yeah.
I completely understand. There's a lot, like, I don't know, this season with MLS in general, I'm just kind of like, wow, there's a there's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Like I'll see a result from which team and I'm like, oh, that player's over there now. What? So it's I feel you. I think there was definitely a time in my life where I was that like full like MLS sicko like vibes where I'm like, give me all of the local blog content, give me all the podcasts right now. But yeah, I got a day job. I have two cats that occupy a lot of my life.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
but
feel
no, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, that's why we're excited to have you back because Mike already, I'm sure, knows everything you're going to say, but I
No,
simply do not. And
he could surprise me.
yeah, so I'm excited to get the updated version of this. It's not super far into the season. It's a long season, says Kevin Morris. So if you have some updates for us as we get into this, it'll be nice to see where we are 4 weeks later. Has it been a month?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we are still on their form chart. As we look at Portland's form, in their last 5 matches, they've had a win, a loss, a draw, and then now they're on 2 wins.
Nice.
And that first win in that, it was against us at home. So
That one it was a game. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it afterwards, but it was definitely I was just happy going into it. I'm like, if this is a 0-0 draw, I'm fine. It's better than a 4-1 debacle, which was, the week prior. So I'm like, this
Yeah,
is an
yeah.
improvement. And then Da Costa having like his welcome to Portland kind of moment with that shot that definitely was a cross, but hey, he's gonna claim it as a shot.
Yeah,
That was, yeah. I mean, but I think if you play that game again, like I think out of 10 times, like it probably ends in a tie, like more often than not, I would say. But I think it was, yeah, that game was, I think, a nice kind of like validation. It's like, oh, not everything's going to be terrible for the Timbers. And I know that the run that Austin has been on, basically since that game as well, has kind of caused a similar feeling, I would imagine, for you guys.
Yeah, we're on a 3-game win streak here. Coming into Portland, this will be our chance to tie our longest win streak ever. At 4. So if we can pull out a result this weekend, that will be history making for Austin. So last time we talked, I think one of the big questions was, what is a Phil Neville team? And in the conversation, Sam, you were like, "Great question." This time, let's tweak the question a little bit. What have we learned 6 weeks in about this Phil Neville team?
Yeah, I think we've learned that it plays a heck of a lot better in a 4-2-3-1 formation than in any sort of that back three, back five stuff they were trying early on in the season. That's been the biggest change. If you look at their past like 3 games, 3 results, that draw against the Galaxy and then 2 wins. They've played in that 4-2-3-1 formation, yeah, every single game, and it's just looked miles better, more organized. There's much more you can tell that the spacing between players is a lot cleaner. It's a lot more clear, like whose job is what. It allows Portland to get their best personnel on the field at the same time in their preferred spots. So I think that's been one of the biggest things that we've learned is that this team it's built to play in a 4-2-3-1. They had to do that back three kind of out of necessity due to injuries and unavailabilities. Players are healthy now. Players are integrating. Chemistry is building. So I think this is probably the formation that they'll ride for, whenever they can, whenever they have the full choice for it.
Yeah. And I guess riding off of that, we heard a little bit of this from you before we hit record. So I'm actually anticipating that the national perspective is closer to the local perspective than usually maybe. But basically, everyone's question right now is this a consistent upswing or is it a fluke and you're going to ride the downhill on the Timbers roller coaster ride, which is a direct quote from the Power Rankings article.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and I think it's not wrong, to be fair. Like the Timbers for the past, like last season for sure, the Portland was because they had Evander and Jonathan Rodriguez and Felipe Mora, all of them scoring and scored a bunch of goals, and they let in a bunch of goals. So for a neutral, they were wildly entertaining. For us covering the teams, it very much felt like an emotional roller coaster. This could be that. It's really hard to tell if this kind of run that they're on has been consistent because, this whole run, we kind of forget it, but it started off with a draw against the Galaxy that really should have been a win. The missed penalty call at the end notwithstanding, Portland should have won that game 1-0. So, they kind of switched off for a second there. Two great performances. The away win in Colorado, I think, was, for my money, the most impressive performance they've shown in this season. And then, of course, beating Houston at home, it was nice. I'm sure it was probably nice for y'all too. I'm
It
not
was
sure what
great
the
for us. We loved it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I don't actually know what the dynamic is between Austin and like the other two Texas teams because I know that
Hate 'em.
Bad.
all of them. Is
Hate
there
'em.
okay? There's
They're
no
the
one that you're
worst.
like, oh,
We're the
one is
best.
worse. It's just everyone's awful.
They're
Okay.
both trash.
That's a really good question because I almost said instinctively, no, Houston is a cesspit. They're much worse. But then I thought about it for a second and I'm like, yeah, but also Frisco is ugh. So
Yeah, we don't even call them by their name.
No.
I think that tells you something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's where they play. So, okay,
Right,
that's kind of what I
exactly.
figured. I
Yeah.
was thinking about that before coming on. I'm like, oh, they probably wouldn't mind if I talk about all of the ways that Portland looked really good and beat Houston.
So we have
yeah.
a Copa Tejas, which is similar to y'all's Cascadia Cup, right? And so that's for us the most important trophy in professional sports,
I feel it.
universally. And
Yeah.
so I think the general vibe is they're both trash, we're the best. Tejas is verde, right? Like that's about it.
I can take that. I vibe with that. Yeah, I think it's that win over Houston. If folks saw it, it was Portland's debut on Sunday Night Soccer. So imagine a lot of people maybe saw it. That was Portland basically kind of taking advantage of a team that had one really big glaring weakness, which was when they would turn over the ball. Portland was able to just stream forward in numbers and counterattacking, and then they punished them. So I think that was what that win was. The win against Colorado was similar in the sense of after Portland got that first goal in the first half, they had a lead through all the second half, and they were able to sit back, turn the ball over, and counterattack. That I think is, if you're looking for how Portland is going to be looking to try to attack now, an identity for their attack, it's trying to get the ball into open space, trying to get multiple players running forward. Get the ball to the foot of Anthony or Santiago Moreno, who is fully healthy now, or Juan Mascara, who is fully healthy now. All of those fast players, and then try to get forward and attack directly. That's the best way, at least right now. That's like the best version of Portland's attack.
Yeah, and Sam, how has Portland been doing against teams that I don't know, want less than 25% of the ball? Just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I don't know for a specific team. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. We have yet to see this Timbers team really break down a team that doesn't want the ball. Against Colorado was at home. They were, trying to be the protagonists. They were pushing forward. Houston, Portland scored their first goal, within the first 10 minutes, automatically forcing Houston to kind of come out of their shell.
And Houston in general this year is like trying to be this we don't need a back line if we just never give up possession team, right?
Yeah,
So,
the fortunate part of that is they gave up possession quite a bit.
yeah. Oh, yeah, they did.
And so we have yet to see Portland really try to break down a team that is like, all right, we dare you, come beat us. And that's kind of what Austin has been doing, in their runs. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Portland sets up in this game if they try to kind of stick to what has worked and try to invite pressure forward. Because while the defense has been performing better, they're not perfect. I think they've been improving, but especially when they're playing on the road, especially against a team against Austin that, is starting to play, good soccer in the final third, them giving up a goal is definitely within the realm of possibility. So I'm intrigued to see it. I'm nervous about it, but I think I'm intrigued to see how they set up and handle it.
Yeah. Kind of going off that, it sounds like the back line is going to be pretty important for Portland this weekend. Who do you think are kind of the most important players on the team this week, and why?
Yeah, I think just starting with the back line, I would say maybe the biggest surprise or the biggest revelation so far of this, early season has been Finn Sermon, 21 years old, New Zealand international. He started one game last season on decision day, on the last last game of the season. Played pretty well. It was, impressive. It was a win or a draw in Seattle, which won Portland the Cascadia Cup. So I'm like, if you can play in that environment, you're probably decent. And then he started every single game this season. He's kind of turned into Portland's kind of number one choice defender, which, he's 21 years old. He doesn't have a lot of minutes, which is really surprising. His ability to just kind of always be in like the right place to clear a ball, break up a pass, block a shot is impressive. I think probably going to need that against Austin's offense and Brandon Vasquez and everything over the weekend. So he's going to be important to look for. In addition, the player playing on the left of him, Jimmer Forey, 22 years old, has also been consistent and surprising. He also is good for at least a yellow card a game. I think he has 4 yellow cards in 6 games so far. So that's a lot. He's taking a page from the Diego Chara book of doing it. He hasn't been sent off yet, so for what it's worth, but he's a young player. He plays physical, so that left side of Portland's defense and back line is definitely like a place to watch. In addition, moving a little bit forward, David DaCosta, Austin fans probably know him well at this point. He's been starting to slowly find his feet. He hasn't hit that like pure number 10 creator kind of status. Like, he's still trying to figure out the best like places to put the ball for his teammates. He's still trying to build chemistry. It's coming slowly but surely. He'll be an important player to watch. And Anthony, the left winger, young player, he's leading Portland right now with 4 goals scored. He scored 2 in the win over Colorado last week, or over Houston, excuse me, last weekend. He also scored against Colorado. So he's kind of showing that he's in form goal scoring wise. So he's probably going to want to try to find more goals if he can.
Yeah. I have just a follow-up to that based on the yellow card comment, because we have, 1 or 2 of those ourselves. Someone who's always up for getting a little spicy. Yeah. And I feel like you had a lot of players missing. We hadn't really found our stride yet when we were up there last month. What is Portland looking like in terms of vibes? And not really like a tactics question, but like, are they pushing hard? This is something that's really of interest to me since what was that last match at Colorado at home? That was so brutal. We just had a match that got really violent. And I think that our players, we were saying in the stands, like, we just aren't built for this. We, like, our players, we maybe have, like, we're seeing some of that from Mirto Ozuni in the front, but the rest of our guys are just kind of like sweet little angels. Like, we've got Ilie out there just being holy. And I'm curious to know what the, like, on a scale of angel to Satan, what are your aggressive vibes for the team this year?
Scale of angel to full on 2 foot
Diego
in the
Chara.
middle of the field. Yeah. Diego Chara is an angel, we'll say. He always is good for a yellow card. I think he's one of the leading like active players with yellow cards.
Leading,
but
by like a significant amount, right? Like,
but he very rarely gets that second yellow. He's really good about finding that line, getting the yellow, and then just like coming close to it, but not quite. He's a smart player, and that's the reason he's still starting and balling out at 38. So he's shown to be really impressive. And I do totally agree that I think a lot of other teams are like, oh, there comes Diego Chara, there goes the yellow card. I get that. Yeah, I think as far as like their, I guess to use a term like nastiness or something on the field, that's something that they didn't have a ton of last year. I think there would be multiple games where they wouldn't really be able to kind of like put their head down and like grind out a result. They haven't really done that this year yet as well. Like, they conceded that late goal against the Galaxy. They were, running away with their 2 wins so far, with scoring multiple goals. So it remains to be seen, I think, right now. I think there's some players that could fill that role. I think I mentioned Jimmer Forey. He got his yellow card last game because he was too busy kind of arguing with the ref, or like, kind of throwing a little bit of a fit. And so then they to credit to the Houston player, played the ball really quickly and then right into Forey, and then got a yellow card for that. So it was, maybe should show a little bit more like smarts, like a little bit more experience there. I think that's maybe the one thing to look for is that Portland's team is pretty young. Like their back line, they have pretty young players like Juan Mascara on the right, 22 years old. Like I said, Finn Sermon, 21, Jimmer Forey, 22. Young players, they tend to sometimes, they can lose their cool if they're provoked. I think Portland won't really start any of those things, but if
They'll
maybe some
finish.
cause. They'll try to. It remains to be seen if they'll be successful. I think maybe if some of the calls are going their way, I think I'm concerned about this narrative that's growing, and maybe this is partially, part of it is due to some of the calls that we have or haven't seen on the field, and some of the comments that I think Phil Neville has made in post-game press conferences. There is this narrative forming that, oh, Portland isn't getting the calls they deserve, or they're kind of being treated unfairly by the refs. So I'm concerned that if maybe there's some more calls that happen, or if there's a missed call or a foul that isn't called, or something that's shown a yellow card or not, I'm worried about that kind of raising the blood pressure a little bit of the Timbers. I could see that being something that maybe Austin could take advantage of.
And we know too, last year, the enduring memory of 2024 for me is there was a pretty serious tackle in the Portland Austin away fixture last year. And Alexander Svatok on our team, a center back, gigantic Ukrainian international, ran up to defend the player who was tackled. And Juan Mascara was also running up to like get into the scuffle, and all Svatok did was just like stare him down with like the most like, bro, I evacuated a war zone face. And like it just like it totally changed. Mascara was like, oh, goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, that's Juan's
And so, like,
great. He's not the biggest guy. I would definitely feel that.
So there was
I've seen
definitely
him, yeah.
there's definitely some tension, I think, at least last year. It'll be
Sure.
interesting to see if that carries forward.
I'll be interesting too to see how, talking about physicality, kind of like, that jostling and everything that goes into it. Last week was the first time that Portland conceded a goal via a set piece. And so that could be an area that Austin could take advantage of, especially if, maybe they're able to impose some physicalness on the game or physicality, depending on how kind of it goes. Who knows if that's enduring or if that memory is kind of still going into it. And if, they're trying to press, like, I know that I've been impressed with how well kind of like how pragmatic Nico Estevez has been with the Austin teams and kind of like setting them up for like, like per opponent, like kind of like case by case. So that could be another area like looking to really try to exploit set pieces, because it's not like Portland's defense has been perfect. It's been better, but definitely still fallible.
Yeah, and
we're,
lot
what,
of
4 out of 5 for a set piece goal.
I was about to say, yeah. I think it's now
Just 3.
3 out of 5 of our goals have been set piece goals this year.
Boy.
So we've got 2 in open play, baby. We're on
We're
it.
doing it. Let them cook. No, that's something that I hadn't ever thought to ask before, but it's not something that really is ever going to show up in national media.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start asking that.
We'll find a better scale maybe.
Yeah. This was a very spur of the moment thing.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you talking about it, because that's such a helpful, and like having players to kind of like keep an eye on is such a helpful gauge.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because like on your end, right, Diego Rubio, as a guy who's like watched the league a long time, is like our chief wellhouser, right? Like he's gonna cause some trouble.
He's had some moments against the Timbers in the past too. I'm remembering it. Like, I think specifically it is his time in Colorado. He scored a couple of goals that kind of made me be like, I don't like you. I really don't like you. Like,
you hate him.
Level.
We like him because he's ours.
Yeah. Once he's on your team, 100%, you're like, oh God, yes, thank you.
I feel that. Yes.
What is the deal with Cabecita?
Yeah, so it's been this weird black box of Jonathan Rodriguez. Like, we don't know when he's coming back. They keep saying he's dealing with an injury. He hasn't really been present in a lot of like the photos from like trainings or things. Phil Neville says that they should be expecting him back by the end of April.
Is he like in Portland with the team?
I believe right now he's working on getting his visa from, I think he's back in Uruguay.
He's gonna be a domestic player.
think so. Either
Oh.
his visa or his, I'm not sure if it's the visa or the green card. I'm not
Okay,
sure
okay.
the process there, but yeah. So it's that
Oh,
I
that
know.
would what a legendary move that would be for y'all.
I know. So I think there's been not a lot of news about it, and I think we've kind of been waiting and waiting and waiting. And the most news we got was before the Houston game, where Phil Neville was saying that, yeah, I think we're looking at him probably seeing the field at the end of April, and then we're like, does that mean like the training field or like the field when they're actually playing games? So he's not going to play this week, and he's not going to be a factor, but. Portland's offense isn't at its final form until he's able to play because when he's healthy, he will play. He provides, I think, a combination of speed, physicality, and I think just the ability to score that nobody really has on the Timbers
Such
at the moment.
quality. Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was starting to reach the level of like, are we gonna see him this season? But I think he reached the limit of like, because I think there's a certain number of weeks you can put him like on like the unavailable list until it's like, okay, a serious injury, and then that automatically rules him out for a certain amount of time.
Mm.
I think he's getting close to that, and he's not on the season-ending injury list. So I guess that's good news. So I'm hoping we get to see him sooner rather than later.
Cool. Yeah, the other person on your roster that I thought was a really interesting offseason pickup, and I'm surprised I haven't seen more of him playing, is Kevin Kelsey.
Yeah.
Another attacking piece that y'all picked up in the offseason. I'm surprised to see, no offense to Felipe Mora, who has been like a club steward for y'all, right? A legend. But like I thought for sure Kelsey would be coming in to take that starting job.
Yeah, I think that might be what they're hoping happens by the end of the season is that Kevin Kelsey kind of finds his footing and, is that day in, day out starter. But that'll happen after Felipe Mora stops scoring goals, which hasn't been the case. He scored again against Houston, and I think he showed why he's still starting, why Mora is still starting ahead of him, just his ability to he's another really smart player. His ability to find good spots. He was in like the perfect position to collect that, misplayed cross and then score the opener. He essentially created the third goal with, pouncing on that bad back pass. And then getting clobbered by the goalkeeper and then getting subbed out like that soon thereafter. So your last act was that way to put your body on the line.
Right.
No, I think Kevin Kelsey, you can see his tools. Like he's a little more of a technical player. He likes playing with the ball at his feet. Felipe Mora is more traditional kind of hold up play. Like he'll try to body defenders and kind of lay the ball off for teammates. Kevin Kelsey, I think, likes to hold the ball at his feet and try to create himself. It was cool to see him score a couple of weeks ago against Colorado. I think that shows that Kelsey will be as good as the service he gets. And that service is improving from, the likes of David DaCosta, Santiago Moreno, Jimmer Forey, those players that are sending in balls into the box. He hasn't had the opportunity to get an extended run out yet. He will, like just based upon the amount of games that Portland has to play. Portland is facing a stretch. Their next 5 games, 4 of them are on the road, so it's a rough stretch, and travel always takes a toll on players. So he'll be getting chances to start. He's still young, he's still just 20 years old. He's still kind of developing a little bit. So I don't think the team is putting too much pressure on him to like be the guy yet. They would love it if he could, but I think for now, I think they're settled on the rotation of like Mora starting, trying to take up time about the defenders, and then Kelsey coming in maybe in the end to try to nick a goal or two.
Cool.
Yeah. What are vibes like?
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah.
They're better. They're better than the
Yes.
last time we chatted for sure. I think, winning cures all ills. I think their ability to like Portland's ability to play well, to like show like good performances and score a bunch of goals, especially at home. Like that really kind of helps lift the spirits a little bit. Like an away win is great, and being able to celebrate a win in Providence Park is just, that feels better than I think most other things. I think there was a moment, like I think after, because they had the loss against the opening day loss, then they went on the road after the game announced, and they went on the road, lost at Nashville, which is a bummer because James Pantemis saves 2 penalties and Portland still loses. So that's like, ugh, it was a bummer. And then they tie the Galaxy. At that point, it was kind of feeling like, ooh, is this team going to be just kind of, floundering for most of the season? And then 2 good wins, good performances. Like, okay, maybe we don't need to panic just yet. That could flip. We'll check in again in a month. I know this is the last time we're playing each other in the regular season, but, I think you mentioned consistency to kind of start the season. I think that's what everyone's hoping for. I don't know if anyone is expecting it. Like, I don't know if the standard is, yes, we need this team needs to play really good week in and week out. I think right now the hopes are just win, play decent soccer. If the results come great, like I think, don't get blown out like you did in the opening week. They're improving overall, though, I'd say.
Good. I like to hear that. Like, that sounds like a sensible, crazy, but it sounds like a sensible reaction to a season.
I mean, give it a week though. Like,
Sure.
I mean, I love the comment section on Stumptown Footy. Like, it's why
Do
we exist
ya?
and everything. It's why Stumptown exists. I mean, I don't
Sure.
read it all the time, but the fact it exists, like, create communities to discuss the games. But it really is tough when it seems to oscillate between we're going to win the league, best team ever, or everybody sucks, fire everybody, this is the worst team ever. It's like, maybe there's somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
Right.
It's a little bit harder to find.
With a team like Portland, where you are going to lose a match 4-1, and then you're going to put up 7 goals in 3 games. Like, it feels like part and parcel for the vibes, right? Like...
I don't 100%. So that's, what, maybe they are kind of adopting the comment section. I mean, in the Western Conference in general, it's interesting because it really does feel pretty wide open this year.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, even the traditional kind of teams, like obviously LAFC is historically really good. They're having a little bit of a struggle with it. San Diego has been surprisingly really good this season.
Galaxy are terrible this year.
Yeah, Galaxy are not good. Vancouver's playing, like, Vancouver might be the best team in the Western Conference, which is, cool to see. So if you can't tell, the feeling of animosity in Cascadia, it's kind of like a friendly rivalry between Vancouver and Portland. Like, we'll hate each other on the field, but then we'll go to get drinks afterwards. Everybody hates Seattle. Like, that's the bar.
They invented soccer. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, they did. So it just really feels like this season might be a little bit of kind of like, oh, you get a surprising win here, couple of good wins here, but then a couple of really dropped results, because it just seems to feel so topsy-turvy with just kind of like how wide open the Western Conference is. So as much as I would love to see the Timbers have some consistency, especially early on in the season, I think that's more of just like an optimistic hope. So for me, it's more of just trying to kind of ride out the waves, the highs and the lows, and trust that this team has shown it can put in good performances against decent teams, like that win against Colorado. Colorado's a decent club in the West. So being able to put in those types of performances, we know they can do it. The question is just kind of like, what do you need to get in between those 2 performances, if that makes sense from a fan perspective?
Yeah. Well, Sam, we will see you on a Portland-esque night here in Austin. It will be... I
saw.
Yeah, it'll be 66 degrees at kickoff, which for us may as well be freezing. We really appreciate your time here, man. Thank you so much. Tell everybody again where they can find all the coverage that y'all do.
Of course, yeah. We are Stumptown Footy, stumptownfooty.substack.com, Stumptown Footy on socials. I am at Samich923 on socials as well. Yeah, you can cover the stuff. We'll have previews and stuff coming out for the matches. And also about the Thorns, just got to plug them as well. There's no NWSL this upcoming weekend due to the international break, but week after, the Thorns they're still searching for that first win in the NWSL. So hoping they find it soon, but we'll have a bunch of good stuff coming up about them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Sam, for coming on and chatting with us again about the Timbers. It was great to kind of reconnect in a totally different mood from the last time.
Yeah, I especially liked all the nice things that he had to say about us personally off air.
Yeah. All right. You want to get to the man of my jersey?
Yeah, who is it?
Now, you all know I hate doing this because part of the, I think, important thing of the man of my jersey is that it's not always the goal scorer. It's not always the man of the match. It's not always the person who's already getting all of the attention. But this week, it absolutely is Mirto Uzuni.
Why?
Because I have never in my life ever heard a professional athlete say something so close to my heart as when Mirto Uzuni said, "I'm always hungry." Thank you all so much for listening.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, tell all your friends, tell all your enemies, tell a stranger in the streets.
We love you.
Sign up for the Patreon. Landon's going to give information on that. I promise. He promises. I shouldn't promise what Landon's going to do, but I'm going to stick my neck out there. Landon, don't do me dirty. All right. We will see you next week. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I will marry Chewies
Yeah.
because they love Chew Boom Boom sauce.